Okay, I just set up my YouTube stream stuff. There we go. It's up. Good morning, Hearts. How's everyone doing, guys? Now that we can actually speak. I'm gonna play a bit of Rogue. For the funsies. Need my emeralds though. Actually, to buy emeralds, I think. Yeah, really, right? You can't kill T4 Lilith. Tried 50 times already. Well, maybe just come back stronger. Or keep trying until you learn to fight and do it. I mean, either you go for the challenge or you just, you know, blast her, basically. Actually... Yeah, always one shot. Yeah, that hurts. She has a lot of one shot mechanics and stuff in fight. What else did I change here? This. Are there any other changes? Not really, right? I think this is it, pretty much. Scourge. Okay. And now we have a different build. I'll farm a bit more on the Spirit Bond just because it's fun, and then later maybe a Rogue as well. Gonna try to min-max some gear, and then we're gonna do some pushing, guys. Yeah, should be fine. What do you farm? Like 85 or something, I guess. Something fast and chill. One shots are dumb. We spend all this time going to be strong, and then one shots against all the work. Well, I mean, in terms of like boss design, I think, you know, this is not a bad thing though. Like you still have to, you know, be strong enough to survive the other attacks, right? So this is what you built for. The one shots are just like part of the boss fight, and you're supposed to outplay it basically. And I mean, if you really want, you can get tanky enough to survive the one shots. You know? So if you put in the extra effort into getting tanky, you can do that. You know, you can survive anything in this game. You can even survive the Belial Breath if you want. So that's not really a problem. It's just that typical builds don't do that, and typical builds have to play the mechanics. So it's up to you to decide if you want to do that, or if you want to cheese it, or, you know, just like one-shot her. I mean, there's like various ways of dealing with it, basically. You have 9k HP and full Fortify on Paladin and still die. I mean, 9k HP is extremely low, and Fortify actually doesn't protect you for anything. It used to give you damage reduction, but that is not the case anymore. 9k HP is nothing. My Spirit Bond is 15k, dude. And I'm not even trying to survive a little wave. I'm definitely not going to... If you want to cheese the Little fight a little bit, you can, for example, try to equip an Endurant Faith. That is like the most powerful defensive item you can wear on any build, basically. You give up your glove slot, but I mean, you're playing Paladin, you don't care about the damage anyway. So, you can try that. Hi, Froschkönig. Think we'll get PTR for the expansion? No chance, I think. Like, what would they even show us on the PTR? Definitely not the skill trace, because I think they're supposed to be like the big, you know, secret and the big surprise, basically. So, yeah, maybe the torment difficulties, but I don't really see that happening either. You know, like the whole like torment system is going to be like a new, and integrated in the whole new end game and so on. So what's the point? Yeah, I don't really see it happening. It's putting more points in Polygon Bolt going to help me do more damage on the Wing Strike build. I mean, Paragons past 200 don't really do that much anymore. And then especially like past 250, you usually kind of have everything that's semi-important as well. So, you know, depends a little bit on the build, but you know, going from like 250 Paragon to 300 Paragon is, you know, maybe half a pit tier upgrade or something. So it's just that scaling per pit tier is ridiculously high, so you know, going from 90 to 95, monsters have like, I don't know, double the HP or something. So if you like, you know, if you can kind of do 90 and then, you know, you go up 5 tiers, then you'll definitely notice a difference. Yeah, I mean, the benefit you get from Paragon points is, you know, very low after you have glyphs and legendary nodes unlocked. It's just a bit of additive nodes and, you know, maybe a bit of defense and stuff like that. So defense is like relatively or whatever, I guess, in terms of softcore. Because most of the time you just don't really worry. And then there's basically like a bit of like damage you get, and yeah. Maybe a character gets like 5 to 10% stronger or so, depending on the class and depending on what you can still pick up. When you go from like the, you know, 250 to 300 Paragon. Yeah, it's like half a pit tier maybe. It's not much. Yeah, Glyph levels is also... Glyph levels is kind of nice though, because Glyph levels is like a free real estate, right? You should always level your glyphs to 100 basically. There's not really a reason not to. Like once you have all of your stuff set up and so on, and you know, like your gear is not really progressing anymore, Glyphs is just like an easy way to get more powerful. And it doesn't take very long. And yeah, going from like level 50 glyphs to level 100 glyphs times 5. It's definitely a noticeable upgrade. I'm not sure exactly, but probably, I don't know, 70 to 100% damage actually or so. Like you can definitely get maybe twice as powerful or so. That's Crushing Hand now, yeah. I was pushing some payback last night. And we just like went back to this here because I want to farm a little bit more on the Spirit Bond. I didn't really play this very much. I played the Spirit Bond like 10 hours or something yesterday and that was it. Pushed to number 1. And I feel like I kind of want to do a bit more. Maybe I'm gonna get a few upgrades or something. I hope Poison Spirit Bond is somewhat meta next expansion. Holy. Let's go. It's definitely the expectation that they're gonna take these like underdeveloped archetypes and make them cool and good, you know, right? There's plenty of stuff like that across the classes. Shadow Imbuement on Rogue. It's like not a thing. Poison Imbuement is also lacking these days. For the most part. Then have like the whole like Wolf and like, you know, Storm stuff on the Druid. Everything is kind of terrible right now. You have the Necros or the Blood builds that are like completely useless. So yeah, I would definitely expect that all of this stuff is gonna get fixed, basically. Did it make some changes in the pit? No, pit is still in the same shitty spot it has been for the last 2 years. Well, not for much longer though. Do you really want to waste the emerald fragments actually? Maybe not, now I think about it. They made the pit worse compared to last season. Yeah, okay, like if you see it that way, I guess you can argue pit is worse than last season, yes. It was just that Pit had like the seasonal stuff last season, which is, you know, a special thing for that season. So I didn't really consider this now, but yeah. Compared to last season, I guess there is less monsters because there's no Belial Eyes. But the baseline of the pit is still the same, of, you know, crappy bullshit, basically. And that has never really changed. Yeah, the pit will get major upgrades in the expansion. It gets the wall plans first of all, like the other systems. And it will also get like, you know, much better like map and like, you know, tile set generation and so on. For example. Like similar to the tower, they're taking like the tower technology and putting it into pit and stuff like that. Plus obviously I guess there will be new tile sets, you know, the expansion has like new zones and stuff. So that's gonna be a thing. "69 seconds, nice. The class I'm playing right now is the Spiritborn Denise. That came out of Vessel of Hatred. Has been my most played class this expansion, I'd say. I really like the Spiritborn. Pretty fun. Especially this build is like my favorite, I think, on the class. Crushing End is just like really comfy and cool. Do you see new item progression expansion? Yes. And we're gonna get crafting with the cube, for example. I mean, it didn't really like confirm a lot of like item changes themselves. I mean, we know there's gonna be high item power. That we know that they rescaled like DPS and life values. And you know, for example, amulets must be changing because there's no passives anymore. So there's probably other stuff. We see the new like philosophy of aspect and unique design on the Paladin right now, right? And the new uniques they introduced this season, which are like much more like open-ended designs, much more generic, much more like cross-class stuff and so on. When it's playing Warlock, I mean everyone. Nah. I mean with Paladin, you know, everyone is a Paladin and that makes sense, I think. But with the expansion, you know, everyone has a new class, you know, everyone wants to play their old favorites, you know, in the new world, right? So I think you're gonna see something like 50% on the Warlock. Just because it's the new class. And I think the other 50% will be the other classes. I think 150 will be possible this season with Paladin. No. Group play will be like something like 140 or so. And solo will be like... I mean, we're pretty close to the cap now. I think there was 127 already, so that doesn't really move anymore, I guess. Maybe one or two, maybe 130 if you're like really optimistic. %50 who paid for the launch and 50% who didn't. I'm not sure if that really has much to do with it. But I mean, they will give the full skill trees to everyone who doesn't have the expansion, right? So there's that. Everyone gets the skill trees, even if you don't have the expansion. So that's kind of big. As it's built as a crushing hand, it's in the description. Day 1 you predict 99% Warlock. Okay, maybe people are gonna be curious and like try it out for like, you know, the first 2 levels or whatever, who knows. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be plenty of other classes you're gonna see on launch. It's gonna like, you know, fan out pretty soon. Like, I know I'll be playing a lot of Rogue when Season 13 launches as well, so... like telling what is like, you know, good and competitive build from like the launch day, I think it's not happening, right? Because, you know, you don't know all the full information, you know, how everything interacts, you don't know, you know, the new uniques, the new Paragon, like, you know, everything. The sets, there's like so much shit that, you know, we'll go into like exploring, like what is a good build and what is not. Like, yeah, you can open, you know, like the one skill tree and you're gonna get an idea of what the hell is going on. But you don't really know what's gonna be good, I guess, just on that. What's going to happen with Shroud of False Death? Hopefully that's gonna delete it. I mean, what will happen to like half the mythics that are completely worthless right now? You know, it's like not really a different situation. Like, you have like very few mythics that are actually relevant in any way. But yeah, hopefully it's gonna nuke the Shroud. That'll be best. I guess actually one big reason why many people might play Warlock on day one is because you already know the Warlock skill tree. And you can kind of like, you know, anticipate and, you know, plan around and whatever. And for the art class, you have like no idea, right? You can't just like log in and blast. I guess a lot of people just like kind of wait until good builds emerge from, you know, kind of creators, and then maybe switch over to like, you know, the Druid, the Rogue, or, you know, whatever. So, like for Warlock, you'll actually have like a relatively good idea already. And I know I'm gonna go into the kitchen soon. I have many Warlock builds to write. You did a butcher on your Sorg, now the border doesn't show up on the map at all. You have to do the season quest time for that. Well, it takes like 5 minutes, so it's pretty fast. You know, Oven Maker Enjoyer, thanks to the cozy farm build on Maxwell. Did Darkseid actually add it in the guide as well? The cozy variant? Like I told the guys, like, hey, do something. Not sure if they did. I'm gonna play some Rogue later as well. I actually wanted to record a guide for it still. I should do that as well. Nice. Hi, Liquid. He needs to improve stability on Lunge Barb. Yeah, I hear that from people that they feel like Glass on Barb, which is kind of strange. Because Barb is usually kind of Giga Chat. So I think what could be happening is that as a Salic enjoyer, you want to avoid life at all costs everywhere, but before a Salic you need life to survive. So make sure that you have life on your gear and on your paragons. And I mean, besides that, I don't know. Make sure you have healing somewhere, so like a 1 life on hit roll maybe. You have Warbring on board for Fortify, I suppose. That helps a lot to like actually stay alive. Maybe you can try to sneak in like a Might aspect or something like that. Or an Iron Skin is really good. Iron Skin is very powerful defensive skill. Or even like a rune. Like a Exile or a Mod rune or some shit. Okay, for Lunch Bomb you usually have the save rune, right, here on the bulls. And then I guess you also have the Earthquake. So I can't really do a rune, I guess. But Iron Skin is definitely insane if you wanna survive. Hey Crystal, by the way. Can we get a quick 30-minute outfit review? Well, I decided, since we have patch notes day, so we went with that. Personally not out yet, but they said it's gonna be this week and they haven't posted them yet, so this week is maybe quickly ending. A normal outfit review would take hours, yeah, for sure. You know if you can play a lot of Halo with our realm vessel characters? What do you mean with that? You mean Eternal? I mean, yeah, your Eternal characters will still be there, but basically all of the gear and stuff will be worthless. So it's not really, there's not really a point, I guess, to play Eternal in Season 13. Oh, says Bobsuck, you got chats. Yeah, I mean, okay, I didn't play like Lunging Bob this season, but I did play Lunging Bob like the last 3 seasons, and I never had any issues surviving. And nothing really changed about the survivability, so I'm not sure what's going on. And I did not play the Acidic stuff in the previous seasons, right? The Acidic was reworked now. Or last season, actually. I didn't even do this. I played like just regular Lunging Strike. And, you know, that was it, basically. And, yeah, I don't know. I find in the Maxwell guide, I mean, I can look at, like, the pre-Acidic version, I guess. And, let's see if there's, like, some pointers I can give. Okay, Merlin wants to go down, so say goodbye to Merlin, guys. So yeah, if you look at this here. I mean, with Silic, basically you're gonna be immortal as long as you make sure that you don't have any life rolls and any life on Paragon and stuff like that. So I'm gonna try to have as little as possible. So it's usually just the crown, and that's it. There's no life here. There's a rage, okay. I guess you could try to leave out tables and go for normal pants, put Might Aspect, put like lunch ranks there. That would be okay, I think. So that's how they can't really move a lot of things around, I guess. Does it come out of Side Islands yet? No, this is next month. You guys only. They did preview of a set for the Rogue somewhere. And we also got some tidbits in like the interview where Savan explained that there's gonna be like some set for druids to have bears. And it's gonna be something that is like a Gaulty Age for the Rogue. Are we doing Elite this season? It's looking good. Yeah, the update is actually kind of nice, so... Yeah, I want to log in last Epoch, probably like after the weekend or something. So, we'll see. Still wanna try to like get some more rank ones. Outrageous God tier gameplay. Yeah. I think people are gonna be very excited to try that. Hope they're gonna make it good. Yeah, my pleasure, liquid caffeine. I try. Am I able to teleport that much? This is Ravager. One of the upgrades allows you to dash to the enemy that you target. So you see this here right now. I just right click. And I have teleport rune as well, so I have to jar, you see the evade. The teleport here. And if you combine this, you can go real fast. Hello.
We'll be here soon, so don't start another.
Okay guys, I need to BRB 1 minute. Okay, guys. Sorry for the delay. You know, Blizzard makes chairs now. And it's chairs from Secret Lab, actually. Exclamation mark Secret Lab if you want to check it out. But I don't think they make this anymore. This was like a limited edition for the default launch. But they make the same type of chair. Just not with that flag. The doggy should come back. Doggy just stole my shoe. I went outside. I came back and he was running away with my shoe. And then I caught it. Put it on my foot again, and then he started holding my foot. Very good guardian. Spirit one faster than Sork. I'd say it's pretty close between Evade and Crackle. They both have like 1 minute run potential, I'd say. This run, I'm in here, I do get the occasional like, I don't know, 70, 80 second clear. Like this. But that's basically just Evade that's like super fast. Crackle Sock is so fun, yeah, I like Crackle Sock. Hope they're not gonna murder the Crackle Sock in the expansion or something. Like the key passive will be gone and so on, so we'll see, I guess. I did payback T109 in 6.5 minutes last night. Payback is definitely stronger than Crushing Hand for push. You can notice the difference. It's like a few tiers for sure. Crushing Hand, I was like good for farming. Thank you. Thank you. I've been maxing in stock before season end to keep any Eternal Museum. Yeah, I don't keep any characters in the Eternal. Actually, I should probably level one of each class so that I can at least go into the dummy room and, you know, do skill interactions and whatever. You still have a Bone Spear and Echo from launch, holy. Dude, I really hope we're gonna get the shotgunning Bone Spear again. That was so much fun. And I played it in Season 1, I think. That was the first Necro I made. Have a safe flight, and us now. You just like having the legacy things? Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, for me, I just, you know, I make too many characters, too many mules and this kind of stuff. Like, you know, I don't keep any of the old characters, basically. And so at some point I decided to just kind of extend them off. kill them somehow. Last season I did like a Lilith with all of my characters until they just died. Might do the same again if they don't die this time, but I guess there's a high chance on at least Spiritborn to die to the T7 bosses. Maybe the Rogue as well. So we'll see. They're about to nerf them, so I definitely have to rip to the bosses before that. The inner Panzer crit, let's go. Oh, I was muted, oops. Yeah, I was just talking about the ASDF. I mean, I never thought about it really. It's just, you know, like, hey, you know, the standard is 1 to P4 and I just roll with it. But WASD is also movement, right? So a few of those buttons are already occupied and F is this. I guess I can change that one, but yeah. Yeah, I only have the number 3 on my mouse actually. I'm thinking about putting number 4 on my mouse as well. I have two thumb buttons. And one is for number 3, which is usually my mobility skill. And the other one is for force standstill. But I don't do that very often. This is only when I play one-handed basically, when I'm drinking my coffee or something. So I could maybe put like another button there. Like for PoE 2 for example, I have 2 buttons bound only to the thumb buttons, and that's actually really useful. But in PoE I guess you have more just like, you know, attack while moving and stuff like that, which is not really a thing in Diablo. See, I did bind my left click to 5, but I think it doesn't work if I don't hold shift anyway. It's kind of sad. I would like to just press 5 and activate my Toxic Skin. But it doesn't work, right? Or maybe with Toxic Skin it would work. Nah. My character just moves there. It's kind of stupid. So I have to press shift and 5. I like to just press 5 and activate my left click. I'm running Neo Jar. Can also do Igni. I can go to my hold button and then rebind it to shift and 5. And then when you click 5 it uses it. Wait, what? I mean, I still want to have the option to press shift to, you know, press other buttons then, right? Like shift right click for like, you know, I don't know, pen shot or whatever. I did his 9k kills in the dry steps outside. Hi, Luciferus. Can you explain what I mean? You can change it in controls. Beautiful. Okay, so I know that's this here combined move, interact, and basic skill slots, and we're gonna keep that checked. So here is shift 5 and just this. Oh. Okay, so because I have the combo on the other on the hold button, it cannot also do the same combo for this. So now it works. Damn, that's actually big. Thank you. So I'm just pressing 5 now. We can still do shift left click as well. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted actually. Now we'll be a number 1 on leaderboards with the new technology. Okay. I just said it, Mr. Alex. So here's Poc Sun, this is the same as always, and here's Neo Jar. You can do Igni Jar as well. Yeah, that's very comfy now, just like pressing 5. Actually, I realized I have Toxic Skin on bar for no reason whatsoever. Oops. Any spare uniques for a Spiritborn? I don't think I kept anything. If you have a bit of fresh meat, you can just like try to Gumba. Kind of looks like monk playstyle. Yeah, I have a slight suspicion this is what they went for when they made this class. Abraham. There's no Andaris Visage build. Oh, it's an E-Patch Notes Day too. Epoch, okay. Definitely want to check that out as well at some point. You can forge a potato mythicum. Yes. You seem to run out of vigor alert, you're only Paragon 63. Yeah, okay, you're like... Yeah, 63. I mean... The main resource engine here is War of Kabaleke plus Midnight Sun. War of Kabaleke makes you always crit when you have full resources. Midnight Sun gives you 50% of the resources back that you spent. So if you get 100% extra resource generation, that actually becomes 100%. So you see my resources are going like up and down every swing. So every time I attack, I spend all my resources, get a guaranteed crit, and that crit procs the Midnight Sun, gives me all the resources back. Look, my resource bar is just like empty, and then full, empty, full, and so on, you see? You can barely notice it actually, because it's like instant. Early on you don't have that, so you need to, you know, just work around like having resource generation elsewhere. Try to temper like a hit restore resources. You can try to put a basic on your bar. Rock Splitter is kind of nice because it gives you vigor just when you block. Withering Fist is also pretty good resource engine early on because it has like extra regen built in. And then the Ravager is kind of important, it gives you like 30% extra resource generation. Hey, Ignition. Yeah, I decided to just like farm a little bit more, maybe gonna get some upgrades, you'll see. % vigor cost reduction. Kinda funny, man. And this only has a yellow kill streak. I wonder if I can actually change my glove. Wait a minute. In that case, I actually don't need the resource cost reduction at all on my rings and stuff, right? I can actually like change both. Here you can do thorns. Actually running thorns on my boots, I just realized. Oh my god. Two bloody affixes. Yeah, this means I can try to go... I mean, I don't think I can replace those. I would like to get attacks reduced by cooldown though. But they have... Okay, just like one attack speed, doesn't have to be GA, I guess. One attack speed either here or here. You could try to get a better temerity. You don't need anything besides a GA life, I suppose. And like a half decent affix. Yeah, and then... Okay, Shroud will not happen. But Harmony might happen. Non-accessible is fine. Switch out T-Bots for Temerity on pants. I'm running Temerity, but for Crush the End, I guess it's fine to go no temerity, since they have so much barrier gen. And I noticed that there is this Crushing Hand barrier generation tempera, and that actually increases the maximum of the Crushing Hand. I didn't realize that. Last Epoch has a B set. Yeah, I saw that. Very funny. They like their bees. Should be a spicy LE death stream in 7 hours. Maybe you're gonna listen in actually. You can't target farm the runes. You can just farm runes in general. Hang on. So you can do bosses or harmony tributes for that. What breed of a dog do we have? This is Maltese. And half demon. Half Maltese, half demon. What's the recommended solo speedrun class build this season? If you care only about speed, I guess that's Evade, Spiritborn. But yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of builds that are like really close, you know, in like in a sub 90-second category, let's say. There's a bunch of stuff on Paladin, like the Shield of Attribution, which is also like the strongest build. Crackle, Sork, Evade. Yeah, a bunch of other these Evade Paladin builds are pretty fast. Leap, like Hoda version, is pretty good. That's super fast as well. Payback or Crushing Hand better? I like Crushing Hand for farming, but Payback is stronger. Hello. What's up? It's a forget the dungeon objectives because of Subo, that's funny. Yeah, I rarely play with Subo actually. Guys saying boss are taking 45 minutes, that took 45 milliseconds. Because we are comparing a Pit 80 boss to one that is like 2000 times tankier or something. This bit is not better than evade. That's pretty good. And he looks very Season of the Rouges this time. Yeah, but you still have to remember that rogues are squishy in last Epoch. Ellie log in? Who's gonna log in on Ellie, guys, on first day? Trying to dance to some blades. And the seasons are like 8 months, so it's not like there's a rush. Oof. Yeah, I watched the, I read the update yesterday with the sets and the items and stuff. I wasn't really impressed by the sets too much, but I guess we'll see. Hard to say really, like, you know, how impactful it will be. I guess the big thing is that, you know, you can take the set bonuses and put them on other items, right? So even if the set items themselves have not really great stats. But it looks like they try to like beef up the sets in general. £40 takeaway ordered. Holy. What are you taking away? A new Diablo expansion? Curious to see if they start pumping out quicker seasons finally. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, last Epoch launch was 2 years ago, man. 2 years. And they made a fuck ton of money. And so far, like, it has not been translated into, like, anything, basically. So, I don't know. And I mean, the Crafton acquisition was also, like, when was it? Like, at least half a year ago? There's a patch today. No, patch is probably Tuesday, but we're expecting the nodes today, so we'll see. Before became 2 different games in 2 years. It's more like 3 games at this point. First, I like to push 145 hardcore. I mean, if I get like world first Uber Mephisto or something, then I'm gonna be happy with that already. The update might just be like repairing files for you. There was not actually a patch today. Sometimes it just does that when, I don't know, it realizes there's some broken stuff or whatever. Blast on DT Rogue. DT Rogue is very fun. I was considering to make one, but I had a blast on Heartseeker as well, so I just kind of stuck with that now. Off migrating to old compound setup, scaling the rogue test setup lifestyle. Yeah, it's a bit like that, I guess. The thing is, COF needs a buff, doesn't even come close to Trade Lake. It doesn't have to come close to Trade Lake, I think. Trade is expected to be OP. But COF is, you know, extremely powerful as it is, and I think it does need an upgrade. You know, usually by the time you're level 100, you kind of have your gear. So I think this is fine. Like it's like 30 hours or so to like fully gear a character in last Epoch. But one thing that ASA could do is like try to you know, improve the chances for like a multi-LP and these kind of things a little bit, and multi-exalt, I guess, and so that they actually have like a bit of like a high-end progression still that they can do. PA2 had COF, I don't think I would even log into anything else. Dude, Path of Exile 2 with Circle of Fortune, that'll be the dream, holy. I can like SSF already a lot in PoE2. But that would be nuts. We soloed, bloodied, lair boss, Duriel, and Torn 4, but it didn't count it. Duriel should count. Are you sure you did like the right sigil and stuff like that? On T4? Should be Duriel, Andariel, Hamager, or the Butcher. What if the SSF they're cooking is some kind of COF type system? Holy. Well, let's go. I think that's kind of like what the wall plants are supposed to be already anyway. But I guess it's also open for trade, so... Expect bare bones on it so I can do SSF 2.0 later. Yeah, I guess so. There's always a 2.0 in this game. Expansion 6 is gonna fix everything, guys. Max do hardcore subbing. It seems like all the builds are for softcore. No, we don't do hardcore builds. The builds in hardcore are not really different from softcore builds anyway, so there's not really a point to do that in the first place. You know, you play the same builds. A good build is a good build, and a bad build is a bad build. It doesn't matter what mode you're on. There's only like, you know, slight adjustments that you do in hardcore. Like maybe take a different glyph or take a different rune. Or roll an extra life roll. And that's mostly it when it comes to hardcore builds in this game, so... COF is a Circle of Fortune. It's one of the two factions you can choose in Epoch, which is the Total Self-Found faction basically, versus the Trade faction. And it allows you to do prophecies and target farm specific things by doing certain objectives and then get specific loot that you can aim for. So it helps you to like beat the RNG basically. Give you like more stuff than the trade people get. Good GA item better than a non-GA, but a bloody item, a bloody affix item. I mean, that is not a question I can answer like that. You know, bloodied effects on jewelry, for example, are like completely irrelevant. So that, you know, is like whatever. And on a weapon, yeah, it's good for farming if it's a good mod, like berserking, but not that impactful for pushing, for example, because you don't kill stuff fast enough. Or same with the bosses, you know, they're not useful on bosses at all. So, you know, nothing works on bosses basically. So, depends on what you want to do, and also like, you know, what build you're doing and which stats you can get from your mod and so on. Might make a T7 bar today. Yo, good luck. Bar has been super fun, man. Hold on. Might play more of it too. Actually, wait a minute. Do I have any character? Shit. I was gonna say, I have no character to open the caches on, but I guess I can open another one character, right? Alright. I still get the GA items and stuff, I guess. Like all my characters are above T100s. I guess I still need some more T7 sigils. Enjoy a T7 while it lasts. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to do T7 Spiritborn and T7 Rogue before the patch, because they're gonna nerf the T7 bosses. And resource cost reduction is insane on Capital builds combo. So you probably want to keep that. Also have this here. It's actually a really crappy glove. Patch is probably Tuesday. Yeah, it's confirmed they're nerfing T7 bosses. What about T5 hordes? We don't know if they're gonna do anything about hordes. The boss changes are fixed, not a nerf. No, it's technically working as intended. Yeah, as far as I know, there's nothing like wrong about it, besides the design. Okay, I do have a suspicion that the hordes are specifically bugged. Like the bloodied hordes, I think they're like +1 torment of what they say. Because everything in there is tankier than what I would expect by quite a margin. Like even the normal monsters, not just the butchers. But yeah, like it's working as intended, the T7 stuff for the most part. Ground effects not loading is a real killer in hordes. Wait, what ground effects? Not that's a patch note. Oh, soon TM. Why nerf the T7 now when people already beat them? Well, because a lot of people have not beaten them, and also many builds just can't, right? Like, I mean, T7 boss... Okay, beating T7 bosses is, you know, doable as long as you have enough time. On any build, technically, right? Even if some of them take hours. But in terms of, like, you know, who actually wants to do that, or can do that, you know, in, like, let's say a reasonable amount of time, let's say maximum a few minutes, there's like a handful of builds or something. And that's it. And then there's Shield of Attribution and it just does it in a few seconds. So there you go, basically. So it's obviously a bit out of whack here. I think if you just bring down the T7 bosses to T6, that'll be okay. And a lot of builds will like blast them relatively fast. but you know, not necessarily instantly. Then you know, a lot more builds can also actually do them if they want to. So I think it's not such a bad idea. They should have just nerfed Shield of Retribution. You suspect a nerf Paladin on Warlock release or shortly after? I mean, we don't know what they'll do now with Paladin. I guess Paladin will largely stay as it is. But yeah, I think Shield of Retribution specifically needs a nerf, and Defiance Aura maybe. Like, it also like doesn't make sense like how much Thorns damage you can do with Shield of Retribution compared to other Thorns builds on the Paladin, right? If you compare Shield of Retribution to Shield Charge or Shield Bash with the Retribution procs, it's also like night and day. Like the Thorns value that you get from Shield of Retribution is just too high. I think you should not post for 100%, but maybe for like 25% of your Thorns. Or something like that. That would already bring it down quite a bit. And then they only have to do something about the support Paladins being ridiculous with Thorns builds as well. With the Defiance Aura basically. So they have to like tweak that a little bit as well to not let it go completely out of control. Chance for Captain America starter kit, Igni and Lumroom. Ah, come on, just press rally. What's my favorite class in D4? Rogue. But I'd really love to enjoy it as much as I did in vanilla. Because since Sense of Hate it was not as fun anymore. You know if there's going to be stat squashing expansion? Right now it looks like the opposite actually. But we'll see, I guess. Yeah, in January there was a on-site event in Irvine where they invited like, you know, I don't know, hundreds of press people and stuff like that. So they were like all the content creators as well. And they played a Warlock on the like level 40 demo. You might have seen some videos. I made some already myself. I also had this interview with Zavin when I was there, for example. They made a T7 unlock pit 110. I don't think people would mistake their way into it. Yeah, but it was just kind of like delay the problem a little bit. And then, okay, there's like a smaller number of people that would accidentally do it and stuff. But you still get fucked the same way, right? Basically. So it's either way, it's just like a shitty system that it forces you to do like, you know, the super pinnacle challenge. Every single time you want to farm the boss. And that's just not how it works, right? You want to do the pinnacle challenge once, kill the boss on T7, you tap yourself on the shoulder, I've done it, and then you go back to regular blasting. But you can't do that. So no matter what they do with the unlock condition, it's just a shitty system. They need to fix it so that you can opt out of the pinnacle challenge again. Because what are you gonna do? Like, you know, no one's gonna farm these T7 bosses. Did I talk to Zavin in the past? Yeah, I had some interactions with Zavin for sure. Like also when we were there, like, you know, I like outside of this interview, I was talking to him for like some hours about all kinds of shit. So we were actually like hanging out later in that evening and stuff like that. So we were discussing a lot about, you know, like some of the designs they're putting into the expansion and, you know, the tower in particular and so on. Zavin. It's not an X, it's a Z. Zavin. It's the first time I saw him in public. Yeah, I think he's like more in the background. But for for Lord of Hatred, I think he's actually like one of the game directors or something. I think he's associate game director for Lord of Hatred or so. And I think he has been working on that expansion basically since launch, or even since before launch of T4 or something. They were already working on Lord of Hatred basically, is the way I understood it. Like he has been working on this shit for like at least 2 years, I think. Which is kind of wild actually, right? So they basically had all this stuff already lined up. Yeah, Spiritborn was definitely in the works already before original launch as well. Exile. Hopefully he's been working on deleting Leia 2.0 for 2 years. Holy. You're playing a Hoda Bomb level 240. Still getting one shot, easily dying. Okay, do you run Selig or not? We do not have Selig yet, okay. Yeah, then in that case make sure you actually have life rolls and life on the Paragons. You only avoid that when you have Selig, in case you did anything like that. And besides that... okay, we probably have changed Scourge Mail for the leaping and stuff. So we can't really change that to like another pants. If you have a Shaco, that wouldn't hurt. It is a relatively decent offensive option while having good defenses. Try to just get more life rolls on a gear, I guess. And you can also try Iron Skin on the bar, maybe. Best I can do is that you fight a butterfly that killed Kane. Holy. Man, Diablo 3 writing was something. Arrogant Nephilim. I would say don't refer to Nephilim much in D4. Yeah, because lore-wise we are not Nephilim. Like the Nephilim are like over, basically, I think. And we just like, I don't know, random people wander us. So I think the Nephilim are gone. Wish D3 was today. Login. Dude, I would actually blast D3 if it was today. That'd be perfect. Do D3 now and tomorrow or something, and then go back to some more D4 and then last Epoch. That'd be cool. Yeah, the season was very short, despite like the T7 challenge and all that. Yeah, I think there might still be Nephilim somewhere in the Diablo 4 world, but I'm not sure if you actually see them anywhere. Jay Wilson is on record saying that Deckard Cain was annoying in Diablo 2. What the fuck? Dude, everyone loves Deckard Cain. And Sultan Cool, man. When is Sultan Cool coming back? At least he has like the powers, you know, he's like this ghost form and shit. Can you get Sultan Cool back, at least? I love Sultan Cool. I got Kane Slender as Omega Ball. Yeah, that is definitely interesting. Like, hey, do you even know who's playing your game? Everyone loves Deckard Cain, man. And this build is Crushing Hand. Make never NPC in town, so every time you greet her, she starts a sheer charge. Oh my god. I was thinking about like before a lot of hatred, I'm gonna do like another like RP playthrough, all cutscenes or some shit for the original campaign and so on. But now when I remember, I have to like watch for like half an hour of Narelle on that. I'm not sure. Do I keep this thing here? Any Thunder Spike gamers? Nah, fuck it, doesn't have like a bloodied mods. I want to record guides for this build real quick, and I guess I'm gonna combine the Crushing Hand and the Payback into one or something. Just need to double check. Was this the push? This was the 109 push, okay. And this was another push. There's more payback here. Ah, this was the funny kill streak bug. Is this crushing it? No, this is still payback. Okay, we can get rid of this, I guess. He has Crushing Hand. 85, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. 86, 2.5 minutes, okay. Alright. You have the... okay, here we go. Same here. Okay. Guys, I'm gonna do recording, so say hi YouTube. I'm gonna pause this here. I'm gonna recording for the Spiritborn. And then also one for the Rogue, I guess, so you can get that out. I wanna get like one today, one tomorrow, I guess. Alright. Hi everyone, we're back with another build guide for Season 12. This time I want to bring you the Spiritborn Crushing Hand and Payback video. I want to combine this into one video because the builds are pretty similar, and I've been using this one here, the Crushing Hand, mostly for farming and gearing up on my Spiritborn. And then Payback is the push version, which is very, very similar, but it has a bit more power and it can go to a bit higher tiers. It's also a bit better for like the Taunt 5 bosses, for example. I've been playing this on hardcore, so it does work. It's definitely a bit on the squishier side of classes. It's not a Paladin, but it works. And yeah, as you can see here, you can fly through, you know, pit 85s, no problem. For example, with Crushing Hand, I actually took this all the way to pit 99s, leveling my glyphs, no problem. It does slow down a little bit towards the end, but you can easily push into like 105, 110 plus territory actually. And there's actually a thing this season with the bloodied items that benefits the Spiritborn builds more than basically any other builds this season. This is thanks to some of the mechanics that I'm about to explain about the Rod of Capeleke. So this is a pretty classic Spiritborn setup here that this has been revamped a little bit for this season, and I'm going to show you what this is all about. If you want to see the Payback in action, this is what this looks like here. So last night I did a 109 push. This is a bit of like a ranged play style where you see here I have like these waves that I shoot out in like a straight line, and maybe like in like a slightly smaller pole. This is like easier to see. Yeah, here. So this is like one of the aspects for Payback. So again, pretty similar setup, but this one is actually based on Thorns, where Crushing Hand is just like a typical attack build, but you don't really have to change your items too much around in order to make this happen. And yeah, here we cleared like 109. I got the rank 1 on hardcore with this. I think on softcore it's like somewhere in like the 115 range right now. This is a pretty powerful build. But yeah, so how does it actually work? Well, so there is this item here, the Rod of Capeleke. This is like the heart of the build. This is like a super powerful weapon that has really good stats, but then also has this effect where whenever you have full resources, you spend it all to boost the power of your attack. And then you can use the Midnight Sun Ring to get all of the resources back. So you see this here, for example, when I attack, I spend all of my resources. I have 273 vigor right now. But when I fill this up and then I attack the dummy and I actually hit something, my Midnight Sun Ring will proc. And since I get a guaranteed crit from the Rod of Capeleke, I will trigger this every single time. And now you see my resources, it will like jump up and down. You see here it's like flickering basically. And you also see that the attacks are much larger. This is part of the Capeleke. So when you have the full resources, you have like a larger AoE, where, for example, when I don't actually have this effect, and you see this here, it's like smaller. You see it? Yeah. So this is kind of like how you can tell that it's actually working. Now, how do you get this resource engine to function like this? The Midnight Sun Ring says it's only 50% of the vigor you have spent. So in that case, you need to have 100% extra resource generation from other sources. So in the late game, you have the Shroud of Force Staff that brings it a little bit. That's like around 14% buff. You have the intelligence here. So this is 19%, for example. And then you also have Ravager, which in my case, I actually have enough that I don't even need this, but this is another 30%. But even when it's down, I can actually do this, as you can see here. So this is kind of like a fail-safe here. There is the Vigorous passive that can go all the way up to like 50% or so. You can even put more points into this. So that's a lot. And you also have some Paragon nodes. So this is on the sapping board, which is over here, sapping. And there's a few nodes here that have resource generation as well. And the thing about resource generation is they all multiply. So what this means is that, for example, I have this 30% from Ravager, and then like the 14% from the Shroud, and then the 19% from the intelligence. you actually have to multiply them every single time. So here you see 1.3, 1.14, 1.19, and that number needs to hit 2. So basically you have to take every individual source of your resource generation bonus, and then you want to hit 2. Now, if you have like a lower roll of Midnight Sun Ring, this is a perfect roll here, there's a pretty high range, you will need a bit more. And you can always just try it out on a dummy, you don't necessarily have to do the math. You can just go to the dummy and you can see, okay, does your resources refill every single time? And if not, then you want to either get a better ring or get more resource generation. There's also a last resort, which is the tempering. So you can do resource generation here as well in order to, like, min-max this a little bit further if you like really don't have any other option. So it really comes down to, like, the rolls of your gear, how good is your Midnight Sun Ring. There's also the vigorous passive that I just showed you earlier on the roll of Kapeleke. And this can also roll, for example, 2 to 6, as you can see here, or you might even get a GA. So in that case, this can also like influence how much you actually need. So you just need to be aware that this combo needs to work in order to have the most optimal output, because even if you just barely not fill it, you will do ridiculously less damage, because then you have to do like a few attacks and then get to full resources from your hits. There is various ways to like passively generate the last little bit of vigor, for example. Sapping procs every 3 attacks and gives you a bit of vigor. But, this is like a very slow way of regenerating, and you want to make sure that this happens every single swing. So this is where you do the most damage. If you want to see more about these like mechanics, how this whole like Rod of Kapeleke and resource combo works, you can go to the Maxwell guides as well. Here's the Crushing Hand and the Payback. I'll show them briefly. So here down in mechanics, there's a lot of like more in-depth explanation about all the stuff I just talked about with, like even a table, and you can like check exactly how much resource generation you need with like a specific ring roll and this kind of stuff. But yeah, TLDR, get a high roll of the Midnight Sun Ring, and then you have like a few different sources of getting that resource generation. Yeah. Besides that, most of the setup is relatively typical Spiritborn stuff that just gives you like more power. So in our case here, adaptability, since we have like a very high resource pool, you saw 273. We get a lot here from the weapon, and then we can stack it on the paragons, we can stack it on the potion, we can stack it on the spiritual attunement. And the Kapeleke, not only does it give us this like resource effect and larger size and more damage, but also we get the basic skill benefits. So we can use adaptability. So we have a lot of resource scaling in like 2 separate ways. For Payback, there's even a triple scaling, because Payback itself scales with resources as well. So that's kind of crazy. And in that case, we have this here. And then you have the other aspect here, unyielding hits. So every time you use a Gorilla skill, you get lots of extra weapon damage. So weapon damage is very high. With that, it's like gives you like a times 3.6 multiplier or something. So you see here, typical is like 715. We attack, it goes to 2.3k. So yeah, that's like more than triple. And there's a very powerful aspect here. And then there's a Midnight Sun Ring. And here is the Esha Ikizungi. So we don't actually have any more aspects. We just have like a lot of uniques. This is for the Protector ult. So every time you cast a Protector, you have this monkey here slamming. And he buffs you with Unstoppable, damage reduction, barrier, and then giga damage, especially against the bosses. So this helps a lot to take down enemies here. And it also gives the Gorilla Ranks, which these skills are, so you get even more power there. And Harmony. So Harmony gives you extra damage per spirit tag. And in that case, you can combine the Gorilla that the skill is normally tagged with. And you see here it also has Jaguar and Eagle as like this blue extra tag. So this comes from the Spirit Hall. So usually you want to combine Jaguar Eagle or Eagle Jaguar. There are some small reasons to do one or the other way. Centipede is usually not that big, so I kind of leave that out. This is kind of like a nice trio of tags here, because there's a bunch of passives on the tree, like especially here in the potency cluster. There's like some Eagle passives here that gives you damage. There's the Gorilla passives, there's the Jaguar passives, and they're all like really good. So this is kind of like a big reason to do this. Plus, you get like a gigantic damage multi. This is better than Mythics, this is better than Perdition, and so on. So you immediately want to have the Harmony with a high roll on the affix as well. Yeah. And then here's Temerity. So Temerity is like a really powerful item for Spiritborn, because number 1, they're very squishy. And number 2, you actually want to have barriers up all the time. This is thanks to the Viscous Shield Paragon here. So the more barrier you have, the more damage you deal. This is a very good Paragon node. So it kind of goes well together with like building defenses into offense. So this is like kind of why you have this. On Crushing Hand in particular, you actually have extra barrier generation from the skill itself. This is baked into the skill tree here, where when you attack, you get a bit of barrier. So you see, even if I don't have temerity, my barrier jumps to like 50% or so when I attack. And then the Gorilla can also give you more barrier. So you can get away without it on Crushing Hand, but most Spearman builds actually kind of want to go temerity. And I was just running it anyway because, yeah, there's alternatives. Like you can put normal pants and put like a tenacity aspect. You can put a Tybalt's Will. So if you want to be a bit more on the offensive side, you can see that maybe also in the guide here. But yeah, temerity is just very comfy, basically. And for payback, that's kind of required because you don't have this extra maximum life here. Yeah, and that's kind of like is most of the core of the setup here in how this functions. There is a bunch of other little things. So there is Armored Hide, for example. This gives you, first of all, basically perma unstoppable. And also Resolve, which is damage reduction, so that's kind of useful. And you also get a block damage reduction and 100% block chance. So for stuff that you can block, this is very helpful. There's counter attack, which gives you dodge chance. So usually dodge chance supersedes block chance. And you will have this up almost all the time as well, giving you 100% block chance. Dodge chance. So the thing is that you will generally not get hit by anything, but you are still kind of squishy because some things go through this. Like ground effects can go through this. If you get dotted up, that dot will be on you. Some things just cannot be blocked or dodged. Most notably, fire enchanted explosions, the explosive affix on elites, and also the executioner swords. And all of these things are like some of the hardest hitting abilities that the enemies do. There's also certain like lair boss abilities that cannot be dodged. So you can't exactly 100% rely on this, but it generally works. And it also gives you like a bit of a extra damage boost here with the reinforced counter attack, since we crit all the time, even with not stacking any crit chance, just when I keep a lecker. And yeah, besides that, this is kind of like most of the main combo here. There is like another thing to explain about these passives down here with the ultimates. So the idea is that you keep your ultimate always running. You kind of want to never have a gap. Because first of all, you get Resolution, which is a short buff for extra damage, helps you a lot against bosses and stuff like that. And then we also have Supremacy, and Supremacy is a pretty tricky one. So effectively per point you get a 30% damage boost here, like at least potentially, when you fully ramp this. So it says that it stacks up to 10 times basically. You have a 4% buff with 4 points, up to 40%, so 10% per point. But then every time your ultimate ends, you actually get 5 stacks extra. You'll see this here in a second when the protector ends. You can see it on the bar. And then I get this buff here. This is the Supremacy stack. These 3 skulls here with the counter. But then it decays 1 per second. But while the ultimate is active, it stops decaying. And you see it goes up again, +5 every time it ends. And you can get 10 stacks from kills, but it can go up to 30 stacks by just recasting it. So you see here I'm at 6 now, and it will actually go beyond this limit of 10 that you would normally have. You see here it will jump to 11 now, and then if it cast again, it'll go to 16, to 21, and so on, up to 30. So this is extremely strong, and this is like a big reason why you want to kind of keep your ultimate always running as long as you can, basically. And in order to do this, we use Prodigy's Tempo. So this kind of goes perfectly with this whole setup of you want to have permanent Armored Hide, permanent counter attack, and permanent ultimate, because Prodigy's Tempo gives you all the cooldowns. You see here when I press this, it has like a 20-second cooldown, but if I start attacking, it actually just comes back in like 3 seconds. And the same with all my other cooldown abilities. You see here I can just reset everything, no problem basically, because I just keep attacking with the Kepeleke and Prodigy's Tempo. So this one says that every 3rd time you cast your core skill or your potency skill in the case of Payback, you reset your cooldowns by X%, depending on the skill rank. So usually you get like 20 or like a quarter or so of the cooldown back. So you basically need to trigger this like 3 or 4 times, and then you will have all the cooldowns back. And you see they kind of like jump back, you know, like a 1/3 of the entire cooldown at a time, basically. It doesn't matter how long the cooldown is. This is just how Prodigy's Tempo works. And we get the extra skill ranks as well because of the, you know, basic combo here. Like you get basic and core at the same time when you spam your ability, thanks to Kepeleke. So it's like the perfect setup here to increase all of your skill ranks. You see, for example, you know, I have like 10 ranks here. This is, for example, from the 9 ranks we get from the glove. But now if I attack the ranks will go up as well. They go to 14 here, and this one also jumped to 5, for example. Yeah, so this is kind of how that works. And yeah, besides that, I think there's not really too much to explain here in like the paragons. There's like a few notes about like how to get resources. If you feel like you are struggling with this whole like resource combo early on, as I mentioned, either try to go for more resource generation in like, for example, tempers. You see right now I have resource cost reduction, which is kind of like the late game setup. So you can change this to like resource generation if the combo is not working for you, or even like the lucky hit chance to restore resources. This is another way to do this, just to kind of get it rolling, but later on you won't have resource cost reduction. And the reason for that is because the Kapeleke kind of acts as if you had a higher resource pool if you have resource cost reduction. This is kind of like a hidden mechanic of this item. So it gets even crazier when you have extra resource cost reduction. So even though we spend all of our resource every time, you know, technically we shouldn't care about resource cost reduction, but it actually boosts the damage of the Kapeleke. So, you know, with my 270 pool, for example, if I have 50% resource cost reduction, it will actually act as if it's 540 resource. So you have even more damage from this multi here. So this can go all the way to 75% resource cost reduction. And it's also part of the reason why Spiritborn builds are so good right now in Season 12 with the bloodied affixes. So you see, for example, my Rampage mod here with the resource cost reduction per kill streak here. This is very powerful for this Kapeleke combo. So you can actually notice quite a difference here when you have like 1 or 2 of these mods on your gear. And compared to like every other build in the game, basically, you get like the biggest benefit this season on the Spiritborn here, thanks to this resource cost stuff. So you can even get to the point where these kill streak effects are so powerful that you don't even put the resource cost on your items anymore, and then you can put other stuff there, offensive stats even if you want. And you can get even more DPS out of this. So this is what you're gonna see on the higher end of like the tower pushing leaderboards, for example. So yeah, this is like another mechanic here that belongs to the Kapeleke combo. Yeah, and that basically kind of wraps it up for how this works with Crushing Hand. And for Payback, yeah, it's relatively simple as well. We basically change a few points. So you see here, I take out the Crushing Hand. We only need 1 in the Payback because we don't care much about the ranks. And we just swap over here and we have to put Toxic Skin. So for Payback, there is the difference that this is the Thorns build. And you want to have Toxic Skin on our bar for this, and you want to poison up enemies, which can be done in like 3 separate ways. One is Toxic Skin itself. You can like activate it and like walk through enemies and leave this trail behind. So this is this here, for example. So when you're in like a melee range, this kind of like triggers pretty easily. There is the Centipede Hall, that is an option. I did talk about having another hall, but for like chill farming and stuff like that, or when you just want to be at range, that is something you can do. And there's also Scourge. So you're gonna see this, for example, in like pushing. There's like this skill here that also poisons enemies. And for example, this is what I was using here when I was doing like my 109 push here, for example. Sometimes I was pressing the Toxic Skin, but you know, this pool is like relatively large, and you see like I press the Scourge sometimes, which is like this centipede animation that comes out of you, and that poisons up everything. So it's kind of important to just have the poisoned status on enemies thanks to this here. And then there's like a few points which you move around here on the tree to kind of support the Payback. So for example, Vehemence passive is a pretty strong one. And yeah, that is basically the only change you make here. The Paragon pretty much remains the same. You can add a little bit of thorns. You see my boots, for example, have thorns on them, which is not useful for Crushing Hand, but it's just kind of the same boots that I use for both setups right now, because for Payback, you want that, for example. But yeah, there's more of these details in the guides. I just kind of want to show both the setups because they're very close, and it's like, okay, use this here like early on, Crushing Hand, like farm everything, and then Payback is like, you know, the T5 boss killer and like pushing and so on. And they're pretty close one to another. Yeah, you can see like more of the like progression and like, you know, different versions here, push, mythic, the starter variant if you don't have any uniques yet and so on. So maybe check that out as well if you're just getting started with Spiritborn, and hope that this guide helps you. I gotta say, I had a blast with the Spiritborn so far. I'm gonna be doing more. I wanna, you know, maybe push 110 plus or something with this and take down the T7 bosses if I can. So let's see how this will go. For now, hope everyone is enjoying Season 12, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay. You forgot to press record. Yeah. No, I did not. It's fine. We got it, guys. Alright, let me just like upload this real quick in the folder. You added a tool in your mega calc to let people see which class is the best class. Interesting. So how did that go? I only got 5 down guards. You temper 2, it goes to A3, Masterwork 4, and then Masterwork crit 5. It's at the bottom of the sheet. Class compare tool. Wait, what do I do here? And this is view only. Select your class and that is the best. Okay. Not Spellborn worst. Spellborn best. Okay. Very good tool here. Useful. Thanks, Ignition. Hi, Cap Viking, right? It's a good day today. I guess we'll see what they'll put in the patch notes later. Hi, Namas. What's the point of Ravager and evade push build? Just more damage? Ravager probably doesn't have such a big impact these days. In the past we used it for Potent because it had like this different mechanic where you stacked up extra damage when you hit them with Jaguar skills. So that was like a reason to run it. I guess it's just like the ferocity. Yeah, it's mostly that, I suppose. There's like a bit more attack speed and stuff. Will I need to push for Mythics and more power? Yo, welcome back, Shinya. I mean, Mythics mostly drop from like lair bosses, so you can try to farm the lair boss sigils and then run those. Here and there, they drop them. When you have a lot of fresh meat, you can try to gumbar for a certain slot as well. But yeah. Yo, thanks for the bits, Sky Viking. Is it better to go resource cost reduction on neck than Thorns as temper? Yeah, so with what I explained earlier with like resource cost reduction scaling the Keperleke, resource cost reduction will be the best for bosses. And when you have the kill streaks going, you actually get so much resource cost reduction when you have like 1 or 2 of these items that you don't need any resource cost reduction anymore because you just get it from the kill streaks. So you kind of have to make that decision there. Hello, MJ Stolen. Will I go for the elite patch notes later? I could do that, I guess. Although I'm like not really 1 second. Yeah, I might. You break the character because they did 1 hard tower and took me 10 minutes for Grigor. Oof. Gain on guard crit 5 from 1 to 3. Well, it's 1 to 2. The 2 goes to 3 when you get a GA. When you master to 25, it goes to 4. And when you master a crit, it goes to 5. BGT. There's no pixel for the Pit 1 hard stuff. So we are expecting that they're gonna tell us what's gonna happen later. I'm gonna go on the Rogue real quick, and I think I'm gonna record the Rogue video as well. And I think Darkside has updated the Rogue guide now as well to have like the comfy variant. Cozy OM. Yeah, that's the one. Literally Moonrise, Payment, Core Clip. Yeah, that's basically what I was playing. CFX, Sunfall. Can do Sunjar. I think I was running Sunjar for speed. Okay, yeah, that's good. What do you mean by cozy? Yeah, Oathmaker is like a, very combo-based setup. And that one is like making it more comfortable, basically. Today, patch? Patch is probably on Tuesday. Okay, I need to find my videos here. This is me doing some crushing hand. This is me doing the half-hour gamba. I have a video, half an hour doing this. This thing is called burrata. It's like a Greek bakery specialty. It has like this like phyllo bread. Uses like many like very thin layers, and then it has like vanilla cream and cinnamon. Not a single necro has dared to go above 100. It's exactly double. On Necro, the minimum entry level was 55. On Paladin, it's 110. It's kind of funny, man, these hardcore leaderboards. Look, there's 9 pages here of people that have ever done a tower. think I should remove hardcore since so few people play it. That's not a good argument, I think. Of course, fewer people play hardcore than softcore, and in most cases, very few. But it's still important to have hardcore, you know? You can't just make decisions by numbers all the time. Like, hey, so few people play Necromancer, should we remove Necromancer? Like, I don't know. Like, you need to have certain things, even if they're not popular. I think hardcore players should be scrutinized and segregated more. Like what? Can you check Barbarian 551 solo ladder? I wonder what we're gonna find there. If you play hardcore, you should start from D1 and beat all the games chronologically. D1, let's go. You have to do like a no-hit run. Like there's like this Souls all games no-hit challenge or something in the Souls games. Softcore needs a challenge mode. There is a bridge between hardcore and softcore that has more penalties to death without the full death. Yeah, every time you die, you lose an item. But not the entire character. Nah, I think that doesn't need to be a bridge. That makes no sense. I mean, you can have this like a sort of like, you know, opt-in difficulty, like, you know, like roguelike mode or something like that. You know, if they introduce like another activity, then you would have kind of that feeling, and at least inside that activity or something. I mean, the thing is that also, like, you know, in a tower, I think the participation rate in a tower in particular is lower on hardcore than on softcore. Because on hard, like, you don't get anything for doing it. So on hardcore, you basically just risk your character for no reason, right? And when we're talking about like a push, you know, like this is like one of the hardest things you can do. So it has like one of the highest chances of losing your character, and you don't get anything for it. Where like everything else in the game at least progresses your character, so you have to take a risk to do that. But in a tower, you don't progress anything. So, you know, there's certainly way fewer people playing the tower compared to the overall hardcore player base compared to softcore, I think. So, you know, in D3, this is not a problem because the leaderboards are built into the core game loop. But in D4, it's completely optional, at least for now. And a lot of people are just invisible, right? Like, a lot of people have never touched the tower. Because why would they? Congratulations, PGD. Remove tower, not hardcore, I got it. No, but that's not the way. It's just, you know, the tower is not done, you know, the tower is not useful, the tower is not, you know, really balanced. You know, it's just like a scuffed system for now. And you know, once they fix it, it's gonna be okay. And you know, they just need to make sure that there's like really juicy first completion rewards for like every tier, or every 5 tiers at least, or something like that, so that you actually have people participating in the tower. Not as like a try-hard rank 1 push necessarily, but as like they're gonna go in and do like a few runs in a season at least, you know, to make sure they kind of end up on the ladder. And you give them like some super juicy stuff for doing that. It's like one of the, you know, multiple progression paths basically. And there you go. This would kind of like solve most of the issue. Where, you know, right now this looks like really empty and like really sad, right? But, you know, when everyone actually does at least a few runs, you know, that will be much better. He's enjoying Diablo 4 by cosplaying as characters he likes from other games. Should I try levels on fast T3 or slow T4? Yeah, it depends on what you mean with slow. But if slow is like more than like 10 to 20 seconds, I would say definitely go T3. I'll play the tower if you gave me a smartphone like tier 80 or 90. Yeah, exactly. Like imagine, okay, like, I don't know, maybe like in the tier 10 you get like, I don't know, some random cache of legendary aspects, right? And then like tier 20, maybe the same, but maybe a bit better, right? And maybe tier 30 you get like a few ancestrals. And then tier 40 you get like a few boss mods. And tier 50 you get, you know, a bunch of uniques. And whatever, like, you know, tier 70 you get a spark, tier 80 you get a mythic. Who knows, right? If they do some stuff like that, then, you know, suddenly people will do the tower. And it will actually feel like it's worthwhile to at least do a run or two here and there, right? Or, you know, okay, I've gotten this much more powerful, now I'm gonna go get my thing. And, you know, that if as long as that reward is like more worthwhile than doing like anything else in the game, but you only get it once, then people will do it. So it's just like right now, especially on hardcore, no one does it because there's no reward. Yeah, I mean, we're not talking about the push, right? We're talking about, okay, you're like, you know, you're strong enough to do the tower on like T100 easily, right? You do like a 3-minute run, you go in, get your thing, boom, done. And at least you've done that, you know? We're not talking about like the try hard, you know, push for hours or something. Yo, partly, thanks for the prime. Okay, guys, I want to do a second video. We're going to talk about the rogue this time. Do this here. Yeah, find the videos actually though. Where are my videos? This was my Gamba thing, right? Okay, so this was the Gamba. Here's the rogue. This was the 109 clear, right? Okay. Then 109 on rogue and Spiritborn. It's kind of funny actually. The same tier in both. Okay, so that's the speed running. Here's a speed run 96 in 3 minutes. Okay, let's take that. Okay, another high YouTube angle, guys. All right. Hi everyone, I'm back to bring you another build guide for Season 12, this time for the Heartseeker Rogue, in particular the Orphan Maker variant. This is the strongest rogue build in the season, and you can hit for trillions with this. So here you see my hardcore rogue right now, absolutely cruising through like pit 95. I have cleared a 109 with this, where I got the rank 1 on the hardcore ladder on the tower, and this can definitely go into like the mid 110 range, like 115 or something. Is what the softcore guys are pushing on the high end with this. It is extremely strong and it's pretty fun to play actually. So I originally had my reservations about this because it's an Orphan Maker build, and it turns out that it is actually not too uncomfortable to play this. So there was a version that Matthias made, who I'm gonna also link his video down in the description. He's one of our Maxwell Rogue guys. And he made a setup that is, you know, pretty reliable and comfy to play. It is a combo-based playstyle, so it is not like just hold down right-click and you win kind of deal. That is like the regular Heartseeker, so you can also find that in like the you know, guide from last season that I made. I actually made a video back then, and also like the Maxwell guide that we have. There is like the kind of like, you know, comfy, like, you know, speed farming version basically, and then the Orphan Maker build, where it's a bit more slow paced and more tactical. But basically, you only need to press exactly 4 buttons in the right order every time you attack. And you do this like maybe once every 2 seconds or so. So you have this kind of like combo of like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 every single time. And like this, you do really good damage and you like blast the entire screen at once. So you can see this here right now. So I'm going to show you how this works. And yeah, you will actually not really have to worry too much about the playstyle. But yeah, so here's the Orphan Maker. This is the kind of heart of the build. So there is a mechanic here where when you shoot, your ability will go on cooldown. So you see this here, or rather it goes into reload form, which is not exactly cooldown, but it's like disabled for a little bit. So my Heartseeker right now, if I press it, you see it's going to be gray, and now I can't use it for like a second or so. So this is that. So if I hold down right click, it just shoots it very slowly. You can improve this with more attack speed. So there will be some attack speed in this build, but most importantly, you just can't just spam this button. And instead, you're going to try to do other stuff in between to get the most out of your one shot every 2 seconds, basically. And the way to do this is with triggering Pain Gorgers. Pain Gorgers for a basic attack, really powerful. So you want to try to mark everything on the screen. And then you also like, you know, double up on your hit basically. And this is how you actually blast the entire screen at once. You hit one guy and the Pain Gorgeous mark is on everything and it will explode the entire pack with that item. So that's kind of like the core combo here. And for the actual skills, we use Shadow Clone to do all of the damage. Shadow Clone has a lot of scaling. It also shoots the Heartseeker just like you. It can also trigger the Pain Gorger just like you, but it also does a lot more damage than you. This is thanks to like some like ramping we can do with like, you know, more skill ranks and this kind of stuff. But more importantly, it doubles up on the multiplier of the Orphan Maker. So this is actually a bug with how this item works. And basically the Shadow Clone does like 10 times your damage on the first attack that the Shadow Clone does. And all the other subsequent attacks just do normal damage, basically. So this is just how this thing works right now. And this means that you want to always use your Shadow Clone right before you do your actual Heartseeker nuke, because it will have this like times 10 damage bonus. And in order to do this, we have to reset it with Preparation. So Preparation is our class specialization here. Every time we spend 75 energy, we get minus 5 seconds on our ultimate cooldown. And the goal is to reach 225 energy and then spend it all in one go to get a minus 15 second cooldown on your Shadow Clone. You see my Shadow Clone right now is 14 seconds. I have 190 energy and we can stack this higher by using the momentum key passive. You see here I attack a little bit with Flurry and my energy goes to 240. So I'm well above what I need. There's also, you know, other sources like, for example, Elixir of Resourcefulness here. So there's various ways to stack resources. It's not that hard to reach the 225. But in our case, we use momentum here. This gives you extra maximum. And also more generation, more damage reduction, more damage. It's a pretty good package here. And in order to get this 225, we can use that. And now you see here, I press exactly this combo. The combo is Flurry, Concealment, and then Shadow Clone and right click for me, and I will shoot. And that is basically the combo. And now when I press Flurry again, you see I go to 0 resources, I spend everything at once, and my Shadow Clone is reset. And now we do 2, 4, right click, 1, 2, 4, right click, 1, 2, 4, right click, 1, 2, 4, right click, and so on. And that is the combo. And this is why we have the Beastfall Boots here, because with this we can spend all of our resources at once with the Flurry. So Flurry has kind of 2 purposes here, or 3 even, which is you stack the momentum, you use it once to use all of the resources after the Heartseeker to reset your Shadow Clone cooldown and then kind of repeat the whole combo. And every time you use the Shadow Clone, you also reset all of your other cooldowns. So if you have Dash on the bar, or if you have the Concealment here, the Count Drops here, so depending on what exactly you do, all of it will be reset every time you do this here. So this also makes it like relatively mobile. So you see here when I do 1, 2, 3 right click, 1, 2, 3 right click, so I get like a dash charge, so I can like do a dash in between. I can do this here, and you kind of do that combo. So you might think that this sounds like, you know, kind of too much upkeep or so, but you kind of get the hang of it really soon when you play it and the muscle memory just kicks in and you just kind of do this all the time. And the Shadow Clone also makes it so that you hit the entire screen thanks to this built-in like AoE effect that it has when it spawns. So this is for the Pain Gorges proc. It actually like applies the Pain Gorges to everything. So when you have multiple dummies here, for example, so you see this here, even if I don't hit them, you see they have this mark above their head. This is the Pain Gorger mark, and it will just happen from the Shadow Clone itself in like a pretty large radius around your character. So you never really have to like aim or position yourself too much in order to do this. And you don't even have to hit anything with your flurry, for example. You can literally just attack the air, shoot at something, and that's it. So the only really important thing is the timing between the Shadow Clone and the Heartseeker. You want to make sure that the Heartseeker comes as the first thing right after the Shadow Clone, and there's not really too long of a delay, because if you wait too long, it can actually lose that kind of like Orphan Maker damage buff there. And that's basically it. And yeah, then you kind of like play the run here. So you just need to make the momentum stacks up to like 9. It'll always be at 9 because momentum goes up when you use a cut throat skill, which is your flurry and your dash. And then it will go down when you use Heartseeker. So you'll generally hover at 9. And then, you know, you shoot, you get a 10, and then you shoot once, and it goes to 9, and then it goes to 10, it goes to 9, and so on. So it kind of always goes down and up 1 again every time. Yeah, in order to get the Shadow Clone cooldown low enough, you have to stack that on your jewelry, and you also want to get enough resource generation to actually get all of your resources back. You need to actually generate this. So one way to get the cooldown low is the temper here. We have Shadow Clone cooldown. With a GA, you can get 39.4% when you masterwork it up without the crit. That is kind of just like taking care of this together with the boots. They also have some ultimate cooldown, and you can put some cooldown on the rings. So you see this here, there's cooldown there and here. So you can like fine tune this a little bit. The Crown of Lucerne also has a cooldown there. And if you get to something like 16 seconds or so on your Shadow Clone, then you're usually fine. You get a bit of extra from like the skill ranks, and you also have the Vehement Brawler aspect here that gives you 2 ranks. And there's also a Vex rune. So when you trigger the Vex rune, then you can get even lower cooldown. So you can get away with slightly more than the 15. But you need to be close enough. And potentially, if you're like very early with your setup right now, and you don't have like a GA temper and stuff, maybe go double temper, and that kind of solves the problem for the most part. And then there's also the other temper here for casting ultimates to restore resources. So that's like one way how you get your resources back. And you see here that, you know, every time I do this combo, 1, 2, 3, 4, my resources kind of like jumps up and down. It goes down from the flurry, and it goes up from like pressing all the other buttons, in particular Shadow Clone. So we have this temper for that. And there's also the Beastfall Boots that gives you this last line here that says cooldown restores 25 energy. And yeah, we have the Concealment, that's a cooldown. We have the Shadow Clone, that's a cooldown. And potentially other stuff like dashing and so on, but most of the time you don't really use that in like extended fights at least. And you will get these procs every single time you use them. Concealment itself also gives cooldown. This is part of the reason why it's included here. You get 40 energy when you use it. So this just helps you to like fill this up here. And the rest is just like from extra resource generation. So for example, there's Shroud here that has a bit of resource generation. So once you have this helps a little bit. There is also Strength that gives you a good bunch of resource generation. And yeah, worst case, for example, if you don't have this yet, then maybe go for like the double resource temper. So if you have the cooldown sorted out, you can go 2 times this ultimate restore and resource temper. And it's like another way to handle this. There's also potentially stuff like a hit, chance to restore resources you can put on a weapon. There's innovation passive. So there's like a few things here that you can do in order to help this a little bit. But you mostly want to get to the point where you don't really have to worry anymore. And you know, you just have the combo every single time. And this is it basically. And yeah, for the rest of the setup here, it's mostly just there to like buff your damage further. Shard of Irathiel is extremely powerful, and you want to use that so that you get like the extra damage. We have Crown of Lucerne. So while we actually add relatively steep primary resource cost to our Heartseeker, we don't care that much because we don't spam it. So even though this costs like 50 energy or something, or 60 or 70 even, with the Crown of Lucian. This is just what it is, and we don't care. It's just like a really powerful damage buff here. So you can stack this 7 times for 15%, which is more than double damage when this is ramped up. Better than a prediction, better than anything really. For like low tier speedrunning, you could think about something like a Gold Slayer Crown if you want. But realistically, you want the Crown of Lucian, and it also brings a cooldown, it brings life, and you don't care about crits anyway. Like, we don't stack actually any crit chance here. You see here, there's no crit chance anywhere. And we still have 100% crit chance thanks to concealment. So you get, this here. It also gives the vulnerable to everything. We don't have to worry about that part. So you kind of have everything in this package. It's very nice. And yeah, here's Umber's pants. This is optional, so you can go more YOLO. And for example, in a push version, you can go more damage with like a Tybalt's. You can have more resources on a Tybalt's and the extra damage buff, for example. You might see this in like the Maxwell guide, I think, with the push variant here. So now there's actually Umber's as well, but yeah, I think Matthias is running Tybalt's will. So this is just like a bit more comfy here with the pants, auto-triggering the Dark Shroud, so you don't have to put it on a bar, we're tankier, and you can get a decent like chunk of life, a decent chunk of damage anyway with Dex and Heartseeker ranks, for example. So we have this here. You have adaptability. Since we stack so much resources on this build, we just put it on the neck, we get a huge damage buff from this with like 270 resources, like a, over 3 times damage multi. It's very good. And then there's another pretty important aspect here. This is Cold Clip. This gives us guaranteed cold imbuement on our shots. So you see our Heartseekers, they're blue. This is coming from the cold imbuement. This is why this is spec'd here. So there's potentially like a few points that you see on the tree that are spec'd here that are not actually on the bar. So one of them is this, and the other one is the Dark Shroud. And you just kind of put the points there to benefit from these things passively. Yeah, and then, yeah, for the rest, there is like more stuff in the guide. I just kind of want to show this off here a little bit because this was a, pretty nice setup actually. I was like pleasantly surprised by how this worked. And yeah, again, like here's a bit of like the footage. I can do like 2-minute runs. It's like decently fast. It's not like super speedy build or something like Death Trap, for example. But considering that you can go all the way to like T99s and like 2 or 3-minute runs with this, and then easily take down T5 bosses or like 2-shot them or something, it's actually quite a blast to play this. So I just wanted to show this off here. Props to Matthias, who has like kind of made this setup, and I originally watched his video and checked out his planner and stuff like that, and yeah, I'm basically playing exactly the same thing. So that was really nice. And yeah, that's pretty much it here for how this build works. So maybe some Rogue enjoyers will check this out and you're gonna have a good time, because I had really a lot of fun with this. So for the like especially combo point enjoyers or so, this might be something to worth checking out. That's what I got here for now. So hope you enjoyed this. Wish everyone a good season 12, and hopefully everyone is going to reach their goals. Let's see. I'm going to try to do the T7 bosses with this on hardcore. That's going to be interesting. But yeah, it's going to be quite a challenge, I think, with the Rogue at least. Let's see how this will go. So see you guys next time. All right. Rogue, rise up. Yeah. All right, that was the Heartseeker Rogue. I will not make a Rogue of Andarius now. That's not happening. Patch. We expect a patch notes later today, and then probably a patch on Tuesday. Um, Alright. Enough with the guides for the night. I have one Paragon to spend whole day on this guy. What do you do? I don't know. I actually have nowhere to put the points. I guess 3% healing saved that. I don't know. 5 decks, let's go. +5 main start, guys. Unlocked. Hey, Mackendo. Yo, thanks for the raid, man. How's it going? Let's put this here. Maybe just make farming a little bit and min-maxing a bit and do some pushing today. Give me a shout out. Hope we had a good time. Just blasting levels. Nice. Yeah, I'm done with the levels. I have 4 characters now, so I'm planning to push them a little bit more. Blue video working overtime. Yeah, 2 recordings, and then I don't know, there's gonna be like some patch notes video and stuff like that, I guess, and then maybe like the new T6 bosses or whatever they're gonna do. I guess they're gonna blow them to T6, I've had, I guess. Or the nerf bosses. I have 2 pallies. I have 2 pallies, a barb, a rogue, and a spiritborn. I actually have 5 in that case, but I'm only gonna push 1 of the pallies, so. We have the jar. Let's put a jar rune. Light prep for 30 videos about the D4 expansion. Yeah, that's gonna be many videos about the D4 expansion. I already started making like plans and like a kind of content plan a little bit leading up to launch and stuff. There's a lot of stuff to dive in. But then getting update for the +45 sigils. Yeah, we expect it on Tuesday, but we don't know exactly what it will do. They just said that they're gonna do something. So yeah, they said patch notes this week, so I guess we'll see what they will do. Thank you, Megan. Which bit are you doing right now? You're not cooking a Sork for that craziness. Are you doing Sork? Yeah, I think Sorc can do the T7 bosses, but yeah, it's definitely kind of a long fight, I think. Roar, Rogue push variant, go for it. Pretty sure I can hit 103, 105. Roar goes further than that, actually. I think Roar is not that far behind Heartseeker. Not sure exactly though, where it lands. Oh, new member, Wax. Yo, I just saw. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, Roar is kind of fun. But I think I'd rather make another class before I play Roar now. And I would like revisit like Roar in the expansion again or so. I've played Vein of Arrows quite a few times. Even during Wrestle of Hatred, and it's actually kind of decent right now. But yeah. I wanna not go too ham on the Rogue before the expansion, you know, I'm gonna be playing a lot of Rogue after the expansion, so I'm very excited to do some Rogue action. For Roar, Raspberry and Dirk is totally crazy. Yeah, Raspberry and Dirk in general is like kinda nice if you wanna kill bosses and stuff. It's a pretty good rogue item, I think. But I have actually yet to use it. On this build I'm not running it, because I have the... yeah, I have two unique weapons, so you kinda want the Shadow Clone thing there. And for like the Bloody Dead bosses you also have the Butchers and stuff like that interfering all the time. Raspberry is a banana killing weapon, the only boss of learn. I mean, okay, in normal seasons without like the other stuff going on in lair bosses, it would be pretty good for most of the lair bosses, I guess. Because even if there are ads, usually they're like very short-lived or something. Can the current default class specialization has become outdated compared to Paladin and Warlock? You mean like this year? I think it's fine that different classes work differently. I wish that buffs were more interesting. Especially with key passes going away. I would kind of hope to see it's now kind of getting baked into the class mechanic for the Barb especially, like Walking Arsenal. Like Walking Arsenal is such a staple, I think. It's like the coolest key pass in the game. It's like, you know, the most build defining key passes and so on. And I don't really want to see that go away. You can put on Legos and uniques. Yeah, I would definitely expect that, you know, since, you know, a lot of uniques are just gonna get deleted, basically, right, with the expansion. They're probably gonna put some of the stuff back into uniques as well, like in all the legendaries. And something like Walking Arsenal should definitely be a part of that, I think. Else we're gonna have like very few uniques anyway, right? So they definitely don't want us to have like no items to grind or something. Pretty sure that's gonna happen. Is any reward for reaching Paragon 300? 1 Paragon point. And Mount Trophy actually. You get like the Soul Shard from Mephisto as the Mount Trophy. Are they actually removing items? I mean, I don't know, but I mean, at the very least, like, you know, half the uniques and stuff are getting reworked at a minimum, right? So maybe some of them will come back, but different. But, you know, since basically all of the like skill-specific uniques that we have right now, they're all going to be in the skill tree in the future. You know, they have, at the very least, completely new effects. And yeah, I mean, some uniques will be just deleted, I guess. Or maybe they will, you know, keep the art, and then at some point they're gonna, you know, make a new unique out of it or something. Should introduce some kind of aura or visual for reward in a Paragon 300 or high rank in the tower. Well, the tower thing is happening. You thought they're getting completely rid of some stuff? I mean, they certainly will, right? I mean, not everything's gonna survive the expansion, I guess. I'm planning to practice some NE before season start? Yes. Is the 300 mount different each season? It's not a mount, it's a trophy, and it's not different per season. It's always the same. I got luck, by the way, with the rollout bushwhacks. Yeah, it's very fun, so good choice. Actually, I realized maybe I should just farm tower instead of the pit, because I don't really care about the loot or the glyphs right now. I could farm the tower and like see all the bosses and stuff like that. Because if I do like this pushing, I might even end the season with like 4 classes pushed, not even having seen all the bosses. I don't even know what they do so well. And I think we still get XP there and caches, I guess. You know, there's something like the Paragon number as well at some point. I mean, it shows the Paragon number next to the name as well. But that's the thing. I don't think there's like something like the rank thing that we had in the past. But they made a season rank thing, so I think that's kind of the point there. It's just that the, you know, the season ranks, they don't really mean much, right? Because just everyone has like rank 7 anyway, I guess, at some point, so. And the thing is, you don't really see people that have like a vastly different rank than you anyway, because you are gonna be in like the Torn 4 town together with all the other Torn 4 people that all have rank 7, like, I don't know. It seems a bit weird. I get the idea, but I think this doesn't really work in this game, because this is not like WoW where, you know, everyone is like in the same town instance. And you see like people of all like, you know, qualities in the same area. Season rank thing is real, yeah. It's like next to your level or next to your name or something. There's like a little Roman number. Not your name, but other people's names. Maybe you can display your own name, I'm not sure. Could use the soldering world boss in season 13. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, they introduced this last season with the season ranks. Yeah, look at this guy there. So clan, name, line, level, paragon, and then season rank. And somehow this guy here has 5. Really wish there were leaderboards by build. That would be cool. But yeah. I gave some suggestion to how this could be done to the devs. Because it's like much more complicated in Diablo 4 than it would be like in Diablo 3, for example. Where you have to set leaderboards. We don't really have such a system in this game. So it's like way more complicated. But yeah, there's ways to do it, I think. Let's hope they will do it at some point. Did Netherman Rogue was spin to win? No, I did not level this guy at all. I only boosted the caches. But Dance on Ice is a very good leveling build, yeah. It's one of the best leveling builds in the game. Especially with the kill streak stuff right now, I think that must be super comfy actually. Maybe I can bosses out of pit 100. Yes. Yeah, Shield of Revolution does that actually really fast. There's plenty of other builds that can do it, but slowly. Like, you know, like 5 to 10 minutes or something. Via main damage source. Yeah, exactly. So if they ever add like, you know, build leaderboard filters, they have to basically make it like by damage source. Like, you know, by what is like the majority of the damage or something like that. And, you know, this can be like anything, right? This can be items, this can be skills, this can be fucking elemental surge temper. You know, can be like sub powers, like earthquakes. Alright, so you need to like find a system that kind of like incorporates all of that. And yeah, I think just by majority damage source filter would probably be the best solution then. And then ideally I would like this to like be like not predefined, but like it's like an auto-populated list of the actual clears that are on the leaderboards, like the 1000 spots, just divided into what are the things that people used, right? And then just like auto sorts that. Okay, like the most popular one is like number 1, and then the second most popular is number 2, and then okay, there's like 500 clears of Shield of Retribution, and then there's like 100 clears with Judgement, and then there's, you know, 50 clears with Divine Lands or whatever, and so on. And then it's just like kind of like goes down like this, and you can like, you know, select that filter, and then you see only the clears of that type. So this is kind of like how it should work, I think. And that'll be a pretty reasonable system, I think. Considering like the, you know, complicated, you know, like different options that exist in this game. Roku with Shadow Clone then. Yeah, I guess there will be definitely some scuffed stuff like this where, you know, if it's coming from the Shadow Clone, it just needs to like count what is the Shadow Clone doing, right? And then it needs to be attributed to the player or something. So yeah, you definitely have to like find a way around this, or else you have like 1000 things on the Shadow Clone on the Rogue. But I think this could be doable. You get the T1, T7 bosses by getting more sigils after doing the T100. So just turn in some caches and you'll get them. We seek to show the total damage at the end. Yeah, maybe actually. Like PoE Ninja. Yeah, I mean PoE has it much easier though, because in PoE there is no, you know, sub skills and this kind of stuff, right? Like PoE Ninja just sorts by skill DPS and that's it. Which is like very simple. But in T4 we don't have that. Like we have so many builds that are not skill based. So like doing like a PoE Ninja style system would be like too simple, I guess. See ya, Wax. What's the best build of a Barbarian? Hoda. I made a video like a few days ago. I'm going to tower an idea, let's see. You can also just copy Helltide, so you just search after multiple skills. Yeah, this doesn't really work though. Like, you know, you can have exactly the same skill bar and play a completely different build. You know, like Wing Strikes and Oradin right now, I have literally the same skill bar, but they're completely different builds. That's not enough. And like, you know, at first glance, without knowing the gear, you don't even know which of the builds I'm playing. That's a kind of downward spiral that leads to D3 itemization. I don't think it necessarily leads to D3 itemization. Why? I mean, okay, maybe you can just accept that, okay, for tower pushing, it's like, okay, you know, there's one mana build per class, you play that build or not, and that's it. I mean, I can live with that. And even with leaderboard filters for builds, most people would just gravitate towards the meta build because it is the meta and the strongest and so on. Even if they can show off their, you know, for the fun, like a Rain of Arrows build or something. You just put tags on the build. I mean, the game would have to do this automatically, I guess. But yeah, I think if you don't like connect the leaderboard filter with the actual performance, you're gonna have a problem because, you know, I don't know, someone is gonna have like a Rain of Arrows on the bar for no reason. Right? It's just like, okay, dead slot, number 6, because he doesn't care. But he actually is playing like a Heartseeker build. And that is actually like doing 99% of the damage or something. He's never pressing a Rain of Arrows. But then you filter the leaderboard by Rain of Arrows and see this guy And you're like, why is this guy like 20 tiers above the actual Rain of Arrows clear there? The Power Paladin tankier than the other Paladins? This took like 4 shots. So I'll just see the bosses a little bit. Why does this thing pop up twice, by the way? Maybe it's time for a bit of pushing, actually. You can try to do like +1 on the rogue. That was the other alt maker I wanted to use, actually, right? Or did I use it already? I think I had a better one in the stash. Rotation will always be low in the lesser builds anyway. Yeah, I guess so. Maybe it doesn't matter enough. I mean, the previous also it was kind of cool to get the city boards. It gave us something to do and so on. It gave like a way to like play a shitty build and, you know, still get the rank 1 there and so on. And I did that quite a bit. But yeah, usually the offline builds were definitely like, you know, not really try hard. But it's kind of cool for like someone who wants to do more than just like the one build. But I guess you just have to like accept that, okay, it's gonna make another class instead, I guess. And that's already enough. Actually crazy how much more progress I have to make even if I kill everything, but I don't pick the globes. Isn't the damage from build system way too ambitious? I mean, I don't know. Different architecture in the code, right? So stash is a completely different problem to solve than tracking a build's damage or something. I mean, there are some stats that you get now in the tower. Look at this when I finish this here. Is this the squishy one? Yeah, that's the squishy one, right? Okay, on the right, devs, total kills, elites, and so on. Score per second. I don't know, I mean... So this one has 4 marksmen, 6 to exploit, and this one has 10 marksmen, 4 to exploit. 300, 295. I think this one is actually pretty good, actually. This one has 4 exploit. So this 4 will probably go to 6. And then we have 10 ranks. I think it'll go to 14 or to 16 ranks. Instead of 8. So right now it has more marksman ranks. And 4 more exploit ranks. Yeah, I think it will probably be 14 in a GA yet. So it's 2 exploiters, it's 4 marksmen. If I'm not mistaken. So we had 33 ranks. So this is 420. So it'd be 9.5% damage from 4 extra ranks on a Heartseeker. And exploit. This is 8% against healthy and injured per point, so we get 2 more. So this is a 1.96. Let's just say it's like up 50% of the time. So that is a bit optimistic, but let's just say 50. So it's like 4% per point. We get 2 of them, it's like 8%. Yeah, I think we definitely go for the marksman ranks. Marksman is the way. We don't even have to calculate this. It's actually a pretty good one.
I'll keep my forge hot. Return soon.
Do we keep the berserking weapon here? What do you have for swords? This has a chain hook. Pretty good weapon otherwise though. There's berserking dex. Crit damage. Does this 3 seconds go up when a masterwork does? It goes to 4 seconds. How does the GA have only 5? That's crazy. So maybe I'll do this. How often do we get 25 kills actually in a run? Let's say we end a run of like 600 kills, that procs for 24 times, so 5 seconds. But it's like 120 seconds, like 2 minutes out of 10 minutes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Can
Okay.
you give me those?
We can check out the alien patch notes, yeah. I'm not running Epoch Fury. I'm running Raven Brawler, but maybe I should do Epoch actually. Although, I guess not. Epoch is like... Wait, is it 50 average? I think it's 50 average, right? Yeah, and Raven Brawler is 30 and then 2 ranks. It's probably like 40-ish. And it buffs my damage too. By 30.
Bright aura. Brighter soul.
You made 8 burgers post-workout.
The wonders of sanctuary at your fingertips. How may I help you?
Solid bits here.
For 40 bucks, you can get 2 expansions, 3 classes, 2 campaigns, 2 extra zones, lots of endgame systems, lots of skin options. But if you really don't want to do that, you can play without the DLC and actually even play the season with other people. But you don't gonna have access to some things.
Hello.
The magics await your return.
More there than that.
I like the beautiful 50-50 there. Patch notes don't exist for expansion. So we're waiting for Tuesday's patch notes. Thank you, Killstreak. I get a title, Fresh Meat. And it's like a hidden extra Killstreak tier, basically. I wonder if I'm gonna have enough resource, actually. Uh-oh. You should just go down in difficulty. What is that?
magic in all things.
I just realized I only hit the resource when I have the master on it. Maybe I'll push with the resource potion instead of life. Monka. Chuck Norris died. Oh, 7. The memes will be missed for sure. If a fixed rogue movement, the whole class would feel much smoother. What bothers you about the movement on rogue? I think like the movement part is like one of the coolest part of the class. His spirit decided his human body was holding him back. I'm gonna run with concealment block, I am. I don't have enough crit chance otherwise. You'd have to like invest into crit and stuff. And you get wound somehow too.
Well done. Finest jewels in Sanctuary.
I think Crackersock is probably one of the speediest, one of the comfiest speed builds.
A hammer sings on your return.
If you think that Wing Strikes or Paladin or something are not like close to Crackle, then this might be like a playstyle issue. Especially with Godslayer, Wingsparks is insane, I think. But yeah, Crackle should be slightly faster. I think you also have it ranked slightly higher.
You lose a little mass to dust.
Yeah, Crack is like one of the fastest for sure. Yeah, and Vakuni can also walk while attacking, which is nice.
I forge more than horseshoes and nails. What do you need?
Okay, we're gonna keep the resource here. We go for life pot for the start. Maybe at some point I'm gonna go for YOLO and go resourcefulness. Got the cow drops here. Got a smoke there. This is fine, this is fine, this is fine. This is fine. You don't want the dash, right? You do this. You have that. Where did I put the last point last time? Was it here in debilitating? I forgot the weapon, I think. Yeah.
What kind of bird is it that you have?
I really wouldn't mind any rampage effect, man, on anything. Nothing here is like a seasonal item. Besides this little berserking thing. Like, this is literally like eternal character, man. At least like one that has like movement speed, man. I have like no fucking movement speed. Not 18. I mean, we'll have a little bit here. And then I'm not sure if this actually activates in town. It is active in town, okay. And then we have this as 5, 30. There's this here. I guess I can try to use concealment to like run around.
I will not let you down.
That's some good timing. so I guess you should try for like 111 to try to beat both these guys. Private, unlucky. Also, that's berserking. 2GA. Cold clip. He's running Starless. That's a pretty big neck, holy. So he masterworked unstable, but he doesn't run siphoning. And he runs Shaco. If this guy's actually pushing with Shaco, then this is a good sign. He has Xan. Okay. I guess he's doing the chill with caltrops then. Xan is not that bad. Every second time. We have 0.35 seconds, which is not very long. But it might be worth trying. It's like 50% every second time. But you might sometimes miss the window. But you also have less stagger, I guess. This guy's also doing Sun. I could try Sun. Wait, let me see this. I have to get a point back down here. Put it in the caltrops. Overflow is longer duration on Xan. Which we're not gonna overflow anyway, we triggered every second cast, exactly. Can we refresh our resources by clicking this? No. Seems fairly consistent actually. Looking this here, maybe the Xan is actually better. Because it's like on average plus 25 of the overpower. As long as I get the timing right. $3 trillion. Okay. Kinda cool. Okay, let's try this then. I have to rely on the caltrops. So I just stand at 111. Because this guy has done a pretty fast clear, right? 8 minutes. So... Kaltos chill is dope. Yeah, usually you have the full rune. But we remove that now. Full rune is 50% damage. And freeze. So we're gonna get the freeze a bit faster. And we do have Bridge of Finesse here. Waiting for resource a bit. You get to 10 momentum stacks. Or 9 actually. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of pumping. If they're already reprisal. You just take off the damage numbers though, I don't see anything. I think the off-maker looks really cool actually. I like the art. $55 energy cost, man, holy. How much regen do we have? 11. Fucking shade, man. What the hell? Let's get one for me. It's just like a random normal monster, man. It's kind of interesting. They introduced him last season, I think, or this season. I think it was last season, actually. I found these guys. Dude, the flurry is like really like, annoying right now, man. Because it always wants to like walk in. Even when I press shift, it's kind of crazy. Even when I press shift, the flurry wants to walk in. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Maybe I need to like not force move that much when I press flurry. That might actually work better. Let's be a bit more like stable. There's so many elites here, but it's like not enough. Can't kill them so easily. Let's try another one. It's a good map though, actually. Maybe the pool was actually too big, because I barely ever got my pain gauges on anything. I think I need to like stay more in the middle of the pool. Kind of tempted to just put TB on my bar instead of flurry. Like, I have shift permanently pressed and it just doesn't do it sometimes. Like, he just walks around. What the fuck? Even when there's no target. I'm gonna press flurry. What is going on? It's like he doesn't recognize I have shift pressed. Go over scroll? No. I'm trying to change this. We can do the control settings again. Okay, I know what you mean. But I mean, is there a reason to go flurry over TB though? I think TB should actually be the fast animation anyway. And without the dash, there's not really a reason to go flurry, I think. We're not using a dash. So he has 16 frames, the fastest. And here there's 10 frames, for example. I think this should actually be better. What the fuck? Oh, wait, Steve's thanks what's up, but looking fine actually. Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't recognize that I have shift pressed. It's so weird. Now we're also DCing. Great. What the fuck is going on? Anyone DCing, guys? Okay. I'm not doing WSD for this. This is mouse wheel movement. Nice, now I also get black screen. What is happening here? Hello?